Bitcoin holders, what we are seeing for Bitcoin right now is absolutely insane and rarely ever happens. And in today's video, I want to explain to you exactly what just happened, why it's so massive, and what I'm doing as a result of it. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, looking at Bitcoin here, what we can see is that yes, its price is getting absolutely battered. Now, at the end of the day, I will say, although it is performing poorly, it is still performing better than the rest of the market, and we are seeing Bitcoin dominance still climbing. So at least Bitcoin is still holding up as its safe haven narrative, of course, because, in moments like this, you want to see Bitcoin performing better than the altcoins. Because if not, everybody's like, okay, what's the point of Bitcoin? If the gains are going to be worse and the risk is just as high, what's the point of Bitcoin? And so I'm glad to see that it's at least holding well. It's not seeing, a 25, 30, 40% day like we're seeing from some of our other altcoins. But overall, at the end of the day, you can't ignore the fact that Bitcoin is getting absolutely smacked up right now. It's just the fact of the matter. But something is happening, although this is the case, right? And although it's not fun, something is happening for Bitcoin that rarely ever happens again, but it's huge. Now, what we're going to focus in on today is something we talked about a couple times, but it is the daily RSI. And we're going to be talking about the fact that Bitcoin's daily RSI is now so deep into the oversold territory that it is at a 23 reading, less than a 25% reading. 25% is, oh shit, we're oversold. People are too scared. Less than 25 is like, yo, people are being ridiculous right now. That's kind of what that means, right? And what I want to do is I want to show you the last few times. Let's call it the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times that Bitcoin has been around these levels and what happened to its price. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the most recent time because this was a little bit of an anomaly recently because we had two readings that dipped below this level that were so close to each other. But what you can see is that we had this reading and we had this reading. And after both of these readings, if we do just take the average of those two readings, which is somewhere around right here, we saw Bitcoin's price rally 21% to the upside. That also led to many of our altcoins pumping 30, 40, 50%. So absolutely beautiful gains. Although, this one, for example, if we individualize this one, we did see it pull back before this pump. It still went positive, right? And even off just this one, off the wick, it still pumped about 19%. So the gains were still there, although it was a bit of an anomaly. Now, before that, what can we see? Well, what we can see is that the time before that was back here, before Bitcoin went to put on this run before any type of major pullback of over 93%. The time before that was the bottom of the bear market in which Bitcoin was at $15,000 roughly before putting in a pump before, let's just go ahead and say even to this little pullback right here, right? What's that? 63% to the upside. This one back here wasn't the bottom of the bear market yet, but we were making some good progress. And of course, we saw Bitcoin's price rally about 24 to 25% on this one after this pullback. Now, of course, it did continue down, but remember, we were in a bear market. The macro trend was downwards, but it still, when this happened, led to a beautiful pump to the upside. The time before that, very similar. We saw Bitcoin's price start to pull back right here, bam. And we put in a rally of around 35% before the market did eventually continue downwards. Again, yes, it did continue downwards and it did go lower than these levels. But at the end of the day, we were in a bear market. You just have to understand that's what happens. The summer low of 2021, whenever we put in one of the lowest wicks that we had ever put in, which is be right here, we obviously saw Bitcoin's price go back down to this level a couple times. So it like pumped off this, came back down, pumped off this, came back down. But in general, off of this low in which Bitcoin put in, we saw the rally after that up, 75% if you want to call it that one. If you want to go up to this little pump right here, we saw it go up 40%. If you want to go all the way up to the top of the bull market, we obviously saw it pump 125% before that. And I think you can start to understand. Now, I don't want to keep going over and over and over again, but I think you're starting to recognize, even in bull markets and even in bear markets, we have seen the moments in which the daily RSI for Bitcoin goes the oversold turn into one of the best buying opportunities that we had. And the craziest thing is that if we just remove all of this, this is still around one of the lowest points that we've been to. We don't frequently visit this low. We saw it right here before this big ass pump. We saw it right here at the bottom of the bear market, right? But that's not usually what happens. It doesn't usually get this low. And the fact that this RSI is this oversold as a result of the news that we're getting right now, which is we might be in a recession, when in all reality, the common normal working man's been feeling like it's been a fucking recession for 2 years now, is absurd to me. That's an overreaction if I've ever seen one. I genuinely believe that. Now, I actually did an entire live stream earlier today over on the second channel going over not only why I think that this is the overcorrection and overreaction, but on top of that, why I'm buying even more more, and why I'm saying that people are being lied to about what's happening during this. People saying this has never happened before are blatantly lying to you, and I explained all of that over on the second channel. It's linked in the description down below. Make sure you do go check that out if you want to see it. There's a ton of value there, and I do think that it would be, super helpful for you, especially in this context. And do subscribe to the second channel if you didn't know about it, guys. But overall, what we're seeing right now is absurd. And because of that, I have been averaging in. I bought some more Bitcoin at $50,500. And I plan on buying more and more and more. Guys, I bought some at 58K. I bought a little purchase here at 58K. Don't care. Makes no difference to me. I know it's down a little bit now. It won't be down forever. Makes no difference. I did a medium-sized purchase because I told you in the last video it might continue lower. So I'm not going to put all my cash in, but I'm going to do a decent buy just to see what happens. Now as we go lower, that went from a medium buy to a large buy. And you know what's going to happen? If this bad boy goes to $40,000, this large buy is going to be an extra large buy. And I'm going to buy more and more and more as this market continues downwards, or if it continues downwards until it reverses, then everyone's going to call us lucky because that's what happens. And so overall, that's what I'm doing. That's my game plan. Guys, if you do want to do some buying of Bitcoin yourself, I always try to remind you, you can do your purchasing over on Margex. I'll leave you a link down in the description below. You don't need a KYC and you don't need a VPN. You can use it from anywhere in the world, and you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonus rewards, which could come in handy during a time in the market like this. So make sure you do go check that out down there for you. Of course, it will be available. But overall, guys, that is about it for today's vid. That's just how I'm feeling. That's just what I'm thinking. We've seen moments like this before in history, and they've always turned out to be good buying opportunities in the grand scheme of things. And so that's what I think is happening here, and I'm going to continue to buy. So I will continue to update you here on Bitcoin, Solana, Jasmine, Render, and much more. Then over on the second channel, I'll update you on what's happening, of course, with the broad market and more fundamental analysis. So make sure you're subscribed to both. Make sure you turn on the notifications for both, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.